네, 안녕하세요. 기억영어 코치텐입니다. 오늘은요, 스노우볼 챌린지 앞에 우리 집, 그 다음에 또 뭐가 있죠? 우리 집, 이동수단, 학교. 이 세 가지를 다 묶어서 도전을 하겠습니다. 도전은요, 39번째 도전입니다. 오늘은 다 묶어서 한 번에 하는 거예요. 대략 어떻게 되지? 전체 누적된 문장, 영어 문장이요. 어떻게 되냐면 534개 정도 되어오네요. 대략 500개 정도가 됩니다. 자, 이걸 아무것도 안 보고 말하기 훈련. 자, 바로 도전을 해보겠습니다. 자, 바로 갈게요. 이렇게 코가 간지럽지? 아이고. 노편집입니다. 노편집. 바로 갑니다. 시간 보세요. 자, 혹시라도 실수하거나 까먹고 멍해져도 그냥 노편집으로 바로 가겠습니다. 네, 가볼게요. 자, 534개 한 번에 갑니다. 자, 일단 할 말 떠올리고요. 우리 집 내 방부터 준비. 자, 할 말 떠올리고 준비. Go. I open the door, I close the door, I knock the door, I lock the door, I unlock the door. I turn on the light, I turn off the light. I turn on the switch, I turn off the switch. I pick up a remote control, I turn on the aircon, I turn off the aircon. I feel a little cold, I feel a little hot. I go to my bed, I sit down on my bed, I lay down on my bed, I sleep in my bed, I get out of my bed. I pick up my pillow, I use my pillow, I put my pillow on the bed, I put my head on the pillow. I pick up a blanket, I use the blanket, I put my blanket on the bed, I prop the blanket, I fold up the blanket. I pick up a remote control, I turn on the TV, I watch TV, I turn off the I watch TV, I watch Netflix, I turn off the TV. I go to the mirror, I stand in front of the mirror, I look in the mirror, I check my hairstyle in the mirror. I pick up a lotion, I use the lotion, I put some lotion on my hands, I put some lotion on my face. I go to the massage chair, I sit on the massage chair, I press the button, I use the massage chair for 20 minutes. I go to the window, open the window, I look out the window, I close the window, I clean up the window. I open the curtains, I close the curtains. I go to the bathroom, I go to the sink, I turn on the water, I wash my hands and face, I turn off the water. I stand in front of the mirror, I look in the mirror, I check my face, I check my hairstyle in the mirror, and I pick up a toothbrush, I pick up a toothpaste, I put some toothpaste onto my toothbrush, I brush my teeth up and down and back and forth, I spit it into the sink, I rinse my mouth with clean water. I pick up my shaver, I turn it on, I shave my face, I turn it off, I rinse it, I put it back. I take off my clothes, I take off my t-shirt, I take off my pants, I take off my underwear, I put them all into the laundry basket. I go to the toilet, I sit down on the toilet, I use the toilet, I do my business on the toilet, I flush the toilet. I pick up a toilet paper, I use the toilet paper, I throw the toilet paper into the toilet, I flush the toilet. I open the trash can, I throw the trash into the trash can, I close the trash can. I go to the shower booth, I get into the shower booth, I take a shower. I pick up a shower head, I turn on the water, I take a shower, I turn off the water. I pick up a shampoo, I use the shampoo, I squeeze some shampoo on my hands, I make some bubble, I wash my hair with the shampoo, I rinse my hair with clean water. I pick up a soap, I use the soap, I make some bubble, I wash my body with the soap, I rinse my body with clean water. I go to the towel rack, I pick up a towel, I dry my body with the towel, I put it back on the towel rack. I go to the living room, I go to the sofa, I sit down on the sofa, I lay down on the sofa, I take a rest on the sofa, I get out of the sofa. I pick up a cushion, I use the cushion, I put the cushion behind my back, I lean my body on the cushion. There's a mini table in front of the sofa, I use the table, I put some snacks on the table. I pick up a remote control, I turn on the TV, I watch TV, I turn off the TV. I go to the cabinet, open the cabinet, I take out a photo album, I close the cabinet. I bring the photo album to the sofa, I sit down on the sofa, I open the album, I look through the album, I close the album. There are some snacks on the tray, I go to the tray, I pick up a snack, I open the snack, eat some snacks. I feel a little hot, I feel a little cold, I pick up a remote control, I turn on the aircon, I turn off the aircon. I go to the curtains, I open the curtains, I close the curtains. I put on my slippers in the living room, I take off my slippers in the living room. I go to the kitchen. There's an island table in the kitchen. I use the island table. I put some dishes on the table. I go to the refrigerator, open the refrigerator, take out a water bottle. I pour some water into the cup. I drink some water. I close the refrigerator. I go to the coffee machine. I press the button. I use the coffee machine. I turn it on and I make some coffee. I drink some coffee. I go to the microwave, I open the microwave, I put the dishes into the microwave, I close the microwave, I run it for 15 seconds. I go to the gas stove, I turn on the gas valve, I turn off the gas valve, I turn on the gas stove, I turn off the gas stove. I pick up a pot, I use the pot, I put the pot on the gas stove, I pour some water into the pot, I boil some water. I pick up a soy sauce bottle, I pick up a salt bottle, I put a bit of soy sauce and salt, I put them all into the pot. And I put them back on the seasoning rack. I go to the drawer, I open the drawer. There are some spoons and chopsticks in the drawer. I take out some spoons, I take out some chopsticks from the drawer. I close the drawer. I open the drawer, I take out some plates from the drawer, and I close the drawer. I go to the sink, I turn on the water, I wash the dishes, I turn off the water. I pick up a dish, I put the dish on the dish rack, I pick up a dry towel, I dry the dish with the towel. I pick up a chopping board, I pick up a knife, I bring them to the island table, I put them all on the table, I use the knife, I cut some radish. I go to the trash can, open the trash can, I throw the trash into the trash can, I close the trash can. There are some plastic bags on the wall, I pick up a plastic bag, I change the plastic bag into the trash can, I throw the trash bag into the trash bin out of my house. And there is a parking lot around my house. I go to the parking area. There is my car in the parking lot. I go to my car. I pick up my car key. I press the button. I start the engine. I turn off the engine. I press the button. I open the car door. I close the car door. Close the car door. I buckle up. I fasten my seatbelt. I unfasten my seatbelt. And I grab a steering wheel. I step on the brake. I start the engine. I feel a little hot. I feel a little cold. I turn on the aircon. I turn off the aircon. I want to go faster. I step on the accelerator. I want to stop my car. I step on the brake. And I look at the side view mirror. I check the side view mirror. I change lanes. I turn on the blinker. I turn off the blinker. I look at the rear view mirror. I check the rear view mirror. I adjust the rear view mirror. I go to the trunk. I open the trunk. I take out my toolbox from the trunk. I put my toolbox into the trunk. I close the trunk. And there is a bus stop near my house. I go to the bus stop. I wait for a bus. I stand next to the bus stop. There is a bench in the bus stop. I go to the bench. I sit down on the bench. I wait for a bus. I stand up from the bench. I look at the information board. I check the information board. I check the bus time. I check the bus number. I look at the bus map. I check the bus map. I check my destination. I check where I want to go. And when the bus arrives, the bus door is open. I get on the bus. I look at the bus driver. I say hello to the bus driver. I take out my bus card. I use my bus card. I take my bus card on the card reader, and I put it back into my wallet. I take a look around on the bus. And I look for an empty seat. I go to the seat. I sit down on the seat. If there is no empty seat, I hold the handle. I keep standing on the bus. I check the bus stop. I stand up from the seat. I go to the exit door. I take out my bus card. I take my bus card on the card reader. I put it back into my wallet. I get off the bus. There is a subway station near my house. I go to the subway station. I get into the subway station. I get out of the subway station. I go to the exit 10, I get into the exit 10, I get out of the exit 10, I wait for my friends at the exit 10. I walk up the steps, I walk down the steps, I walk up the stairs, I walk down the stairs. And I go to the ticket gate, I take out my bus card, I use my bus card, take my bus card on the card reader, and I walk through the ticket gate. I walk down the steps, I go to the platform, and I check the direction of the train, I wait for a train. There are some screen doors for safety. I stand in front of the screen door. I get in line. I wait for a train. I look at the information board. I check the information board. I check the train. And I wait for a moment. I go to the bench. I sit down on the bench. I stand up from the bench. I get on the train. I take a look around. I look for an empty seat. I sit down at the seat. I stand up from the seat. I listen to an announcement. And I stand up from the seat. I go to the exit door. When door is open, I get off the train. And there is a parking area. There's my bike in the parking area. I go to the parking area. I get into the parking area. I take a look around and I go to my bike. I pick up my helmet, I put on my helmet, I take off my helmet. I pick up a flashlight, I mount to the flashlight on my bike, and I turn the light, I turn off the light. And I go to the Han River Park, I ride my bike along the Han River. There is a bicycle rack next to the convenience store. I go to the rack, I stop my bike, and I park my bike at the rack. I lock up the chain. I get into the convenience store, I take a look around, I pick up a soda can, I go to the counter, I pay for it. I leave the store. And there are so many trees in the park. I go to one of the trees, I sit down under the trees, I take a rest under the trees. I open my backpack, I take out the mat, I spread the mat on the floor, I sit down on the mat, I take a rest on the mat, I sleep, I take a nap on the mat. And I get into the classroom. I go to the school. I get into the classroom. 잠깐만요. 코가 좀 간지러워서 이어갈게요. I go to school. I get into the classroom. I go to the desk. I sit down at the desk. I get ready for the class. I open my backpack. I take out a textbook. I open the textbook, read the textbook. I close the textbook. I pick up my pencil out of my pencil case. I use my pencil. I draw a mind map. I put it back into the pencil case. I pick up a notebook, I open the notebook, I take notes, I close the notebook. There's my friends standing next to the locker. I look at my friends, I say hello to my friends, I have small talk with my friends. I go to the locker, open the locker, I put my backpack into the locker, I close the locker. I pick up my backpack, I put my backpack into the locker, I take out my backpack from my locker. And I put my backpack over my shoulder. There's a teacher standing in front of the whiteboard. I look at the teacher, I say hello to the teacher, I have a small talk with the teacher. I go to the whiteboard, I stand in front of the whiteboard, I pick up a marker, I use the marker, I draw a mind map, I write down on the whiteboard. I pick up a marker, I use the marker, I draw a mind map, I write down on the whiteboard. And I go to the library, I stand at the main entrance of the library. I wait for my friends at the main entrance of the library. I meet my friends there. I get into the library. I go to the information desk. I say hello, and I take out my membership card. I scan my membership card. There are some steps there, librarians. So I look at them and I say hello to them. I have small talks with them. I take out my membership card. I use my membership card. I tap my membership card. Tap my membership card on the card reader. I walk through the gate. I get into the library. I go to the return desk. I open my backpack. I take out the books. I return the books. There's a free Wi-Fi zone in the hall of the library. So I pick up my phone. I search for free Wi-Fi. I connect into the free Wi-Fi. I feel thirsty, so I go to the vending machine. I put some coins into the slot. I press the button. I take out a soda. There's a big speakers in the hall of the library. I listen to some music. Sometimes I hear an announcement. There are so many benches. There are so many sofas in the hall of the library. I go to one of the sofa. I sit down on the sofa. I take a rest. I watch YouTube on my phone. There are some stacks on the first floor. I walk up the steps to the first store, and I get into the stacks. There are so many books on the bookshelves. I take a look around. I go to the section for the psychologists. I pick up a book about the psychologists. I look through the books. I bring it to the table. I sit down on the table. Sit down at the table. I open the book. I read the book. I close the book. And 잠깐만요. 할 말 떠올리고. I get into the mini store. I take a look around. I go to the counter. I get in line. It's my turn. I pay for it. I put all stuffs I buy on the counter, and I take out my credit card. I use my credit card. I pay for it. I look at the steps. I say hello to the steps. I pay for it by my credit card. I put it back into my wallet. I take a look around. I pick up a sandwich. I buy a sandwich. I eat some sandwich. I take a look around. I pick up a soda. I buy a soda. I drink some soda. take a look around, I pick up some snacks, I buy some snacks, I eat some snacks. I go to the sofa, I sit down on the sofa, I take a rest on the sofa with some snacks. There is a table in front of the sofa, I use the table, I put some snacks on the table. There are some napkins, tissues on the table. I pick up a tissue, I use the tissue, I wipe my mouth with the tissue, I wipe the table. I pick up all the trash, I bring them to the trash can, open the trash can, I throw the trash into the trash can, I close the trash can. And I go to the basketball gym, I open the main gate of the basketball court, and I get into the basketball gym, I close the main gate. There is a basketball shoes rack next to the main gate. I take off my shoes, I put my shoes on the shoe rack. I take a look around, I pick up my basketball shoes, I put on my basketball shoes, I change into my basketball shoes. I get into the basketball court, I do warm up, I do some stretching, and I play basketball with my friends. There's a coach on the court, I go to the coach, I say hello to the coach, I listen to his advice. There are some players on the court, I go there and I say hello to them, I play basketball with them. And I pick up a ball, I use the ball, I practice dribbling, I pass the ball to my friends, I receive the ball from my friends. And I go to the basketball hoop around the low post, I practice layup, I practice jump shoot, I practice pivot. There are some benches around the court. I go to one of the bench, I sit down on the bench, I stand up from the bench. I feel thirsty, I'm thirsty, so I go to the water dispenser, I press the button, I use the paper cup, I drink some water. There is a scoreboard outside of the court. I look at the scoreboard, I check the time, I check the score. After playing basketball, I go to the shower room, I get into the shower room, I take off my clothes, I take a shower, and I dry my body with the towel, I change my clothes. 됐죠? 다 나온 것 같은데? 다 한 것 같습니다. 네, 전부 하는데 17분 걸리네요. 17분.